Hey, what's up guys, Rev here. No, we will not be talking about Niji-Sanji related drama today. We've been covering that a lot over the past 2 weeks, and I think we need a break because during that time we've been covering the Niji-Sanji situation, a lot of other things have been happening, and I think it's time to focus more on that stuff, including some Persona related drama. So it's been about 2 weeks since Persona 3 Reload was released. And in that time, there's been several controversies surrounding this franchise, but I want to focus on one controversy in particular, and that is some outrage stemming from a mod made for that game. So here is a screenshot of that mod with a user saying, "What the F is wrong with you?" where they're citing this mod that changes the character Yukari's body to make her more busty. Now, a lot of people on Twitter are very upset about this mod, which isn't very surprising because Persona, for some reason, has attracted a lot of antis on Twitter who get upset about things involving fictional characters, like in this case where they're upset because they believe this mod is sexualizing a teenage character, which, as we will talk about throughout this video, is very odd because they are foaming at the mouths angry about this mod for what they believe is sexualizing a teenage character, yet they continue supporting the game that is already sexualizing these characters in the first place. But anyways, the noise and complaints about this mod would get loud enough to the point where the mod hosting service Game Banana would take down this mod, which would be a very hypocritical decision on their part. But going back to that tweet, a lot of people were weighing in on this, saying Persona fans can't go 2 weeks without sexualizing teenagers, which is very ironic to say with this profile picture, as this user would point out, saying you can't say that while having a Rize profile picture, and then he showed a video of this character dancing around in a bikini with close-up shots of her ass, which, like I said, it's odd they're so mad about this mod, but continue supporting this franchise that has stuff like this in it, which makes them big hypocrites. But another user would weigh in, attacking the previous one, saying gooners to have their fun, whereas any sexualization done of Rize in Persona 4 is for the explicit purpose of telling you it's bad and under the pretense that it should be making you uncomfortable. Also, same guy that posted this, which shows me he has zero media literacy overall. Anytime someone uses the term media literacy unironically, you're about to hear the dumbest take ever. And they're referring to a tweet where this user that we just talked about referred to Persona as a glorified dating sim, which is a pretty fair representation of that franchise. But as always, let's give this person a lesson in media literacy of a different kind, and that lesson is your likes are public. And of course, the person complaining about the sexualization of this character has that exact character sexualized in their own likes, which is hardly surprising. And also not surprising, later this account was suspended like a lot of the other unhinged antis on Twitter. But anyways, let's go back to this mod. Like I said earlier, eventually Game Banana would remove this busty Yukari mod, and that was something that would generate a lot of attention, including responses on this tweet from Game Banana themselves, saying the mod violated our rules on indecent content because the character is known to be a minor. And they highlight this rule from their site, saying a person, real or animated, that is indistinguishable from a minor, yes, indistinguishable, or known to be a minor that has been modified from their default appearance or behavior in a way that sexualizes them, involves them in a sexual content, or makes them partially or fully nude. Now, this would be quite the ironic thing for Game Banana to say. Number one, right off the bat, if you have an issue with this mod because it's sexualizing an underage character in Persona, why are you hosting mods for Persona, which is already sexualizing these characters themselves in the game? Why would you continue hosting mods for Persona? It makes absolutely no sense. But you would see here that Game Banana would get hit with a community note, which is basically Twitter's fact check system, which is arguably the best feature they've ever made on that platform, where they give it a fact check saying GameBanana.com does host mods that contain nude depictions of childlike characters and close-ups of genitals. And here is the example they provide. It is a Nude Horizons 2.0 mod, a mod for Animal Crossing New Horizons, where it basically makes all of the characters fully nude. Now that seems a little bit hypocritical, where they're banning mods like the Yukari one, but allowing mods like this. Because if you believe the character Yukari is a depiction of a child in the words of Game Banana. What the hell is Animal Crossing? These characters are much more childish looking than characters from Persona. Like, what is going on here? It just seems like a very odd standard. And there's also close-ups on their genitalia. I don't have to show you guys that. I really don't have to show you that. You can go by my word on that one. But again, that's another example of this mod violating the rules that they're banging the Yukari mod for. But anyways, continuing forward, the PC Focus account would quote Game Banana with this saying, "This is in the game," which, again, it's more examples of the game itself sexualizing these teenage characters, which makes my point earlier much more valid. I mean, this stuff's happening in the game, so wouldn't you stop hosting mods featuring Persona? But this is where we would get an interesting arc where a Persona modder would enter the fray, this Mad Max individual. They would reply or quote retweet that previous tweet saying, "These shouldn't be in the game either," which is a very strange thing to say, not only about the game that you are literally dedicating your online presence to, but also when you're a person making mods, right here, Mad Max making mods, sexualizing these characters. What is going on? Like, the hypocrisy is so shameless from both Game Banana and this modder. It's unbelievable what clout on Twitter will do to your brain. It will completely evaporate any self-awareness. And I would love to see people like this explain away stuff like this, but everyone can see that they're massive hypocrites, and it's really just an embarrassing look. But they would continue in the replies when someone said, "Play other things," which is a very, very valid response to this complaint about the characters from Persona, where the modder would reply saying, "No, Atlas is perfectly capable of not putting creepy stuff in their games." Well, speaking of some of that creepy stuff, you might remember this mod from about 2 years ago. They released a mod for Persona where they removed an arc where a 20-year-old would get involved with a 16-year-old character. And in this mod, they make it so you can't romance any of the adults in the game. Their goal is to remove any sort of interaction between these characters, right? The adult characters and the teenage characters. But ironically, then creates a situation where the player can only date minor characters. So their way of combating this icky stuff in Persona is to make it so that the player can only date underage characters. Does that make a lot of sense to you guys? I think that was a little bit of a backfire on that one. And of course, they have this attitude of saying, "Too long didn't read. I fixed Persona 5. Yes, thank you for your service. You definitely saved the game with this mod that you created. But overall, I think a lot of the outrage from that modder, from Game Banana, and from a lot of Persona fans can be summarized by images like this. Stop entering games and other forms of media that contain things you don't like. If you don't like these characters and the way that they're portrayed in Persona and in Persona mods, that's okay. That's totally valid. You're within your right to not like that stuff. But then do something else. And don't be angry and surprised when the game is continuing to do those things you don't like and the mods of that game reflect those things. I don't know why you're surprised by any of this. If you really truly are bothered by these things contained within Persona and the mods, simply find something else to do. Either play a different game or start making mods for a different game or host mods for a different game. I mean, that addresses every single type of person we talked about in this video, and it's really just another example of people complaining about things that they are choosing to consume over and over again. But that's going to do it for this video. I appreciate you guys giving a listen. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time.